this society, everyone has something to sell. Some sell their bodies, some just an image, some their health, their friendships, relationships, families, and even beliefs. They sell it at different prices, losing and gaining, negative and positive, selfish, most of the time, loving, not even themselves, trying all to fill an empty life, all at the end just wanting to be loved. Most not knowing what love is, go for whatever others sell, when the one thing we all look for is freely given.
In Genesis 1:27 we read, and it says, God created man in his own image. In the image of God, man was created. Both male and female were made in the image of God. So we see that in this beginning portion of the Bible, man was in perfection. He was whole, he was complete, and it was good. But because of sin and disobedience, it caused man to be separated from the image of God. And this separation from the image of God is what causes us to feel lonely. It causes us to feel sadness when we have everything. It causes us to feel anxious and not have peace when we have everything. It makes us feel doubtful. It makes us feel faithless. It makes us feel like we have this heavy weight in our lives and we just don't know why. It makes us feel like rejected, and we constantly have to work for acceptance from people, have to look for love from people. We have to search for things to try to fill up this emptiness that we feel inside of our lives. And just like Adam and Eve, whenever they disobeyed God, they hid from him. And so then we too hide from God in this fallen state. And in the Bible we read of these people who were also broken in this fallen state, but they heard of this man named Jesus, who at first was a stranger to them, and they would just hear rumors of this man who performed miracles, that was a good person, that was loving and caring, and that he would feed thousands of people. And he was a stranger at first, but it was one personal encounter with this man that changed their lives forever. And because of this personal encounter, this man named Jesus became their healer, their provider, and their restorer. And he restored the image of God back into their lives. And no longer were they known as the widow, as the broken. No longer were they known as the crippled, the blind, the tax collector. But they were seen as, hey, that person is the person that Jesus made a miracle with. That person is a person that Jesus rose from the dead. That person over there, that's the person God healed. And then their identity shifted, and their image of God was restored in their lives once again. And that's exactly what God wants to do in your life, in my life, and in all of creation, is to bring the image of God in humanity once again, to bring that balance in our lives once again. And the way that Jesus and God were able to do this is by the greatest and most unforgettable way of sacrifices and revelation of love, and the way they reflected love into humanity is that sacrifice that Christ did on a cross. And because of that sacrifice, we now have this salvation that is free for us. And no longer do we have to sell ourselves, no longer do we have to give ourselves away, no longer do we have to find acceptance from people, from things, from a status. No longer do we have to search for things outside, but it's because of that one sacrifice, that one devotion of love to humanity, is that we can once again be restored in the image of God. And just as William Blake said, God does not die for man. Man cannot exist. So living a life without Christ is like driving a car on neutral. You have no drive, no purpose. So shift gears.